What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Sports Exchange. My name is Tim, going solo today with Tyler gone, scheduling conflicts, but today we're going to get into college football. We got 1 month remaining of the season. A lot of action's going to be happening. Conferences imploding on each other. Top dogs are going to be upset. We don't know, but let's get into all the action right now. Alright, so with the playoff committee coming out with their first rankings of the year, coming out tomorrow, Tuesday, the 5th, voting day, I'm going to go ahead and give you where I think these teams should be ranked, and we're going to start at number 1, and that is Oregon Ducks. They had a slow start to the season with uncharacteristic games with Idaho and then Boise State, which Boise State turned out to be a pretty good football team, so that's valid. Then they turned things around since week 3, leading up to the big matchup against Ohio State Buckeyes. They came away with a 1-point victory. They had a pretty good showing against Michigan. Michigan seemed like they didn't want to go away, but Oregon just wouldn't let it happen. So, Oregon, number 1. Number 2, I have Ohio State, with their only loss being with the number 1 team by 1 point. This team is pretty damn good. So I had them leaping Georgia, being number 2. Number 3, Georgia. Carson Beck overcame a 3-interception game with 2 late fourth quarter touchdown drives. This defense is what's keeping them in the running in the top 3 of the college football rankings. If for some reason that defense has a bad game and Carson Beck's not on point, then this team falls. But it hasn't happened so far. So, Georgia, number 3. Number 4, I got Miami. Just when you think Miami's going to fall, they go ahead and turn things around during the game and break their opponent's heart. We saw it with West Virginia. Now we saw it with Duke. This team just won't go away. Big shout out to Cam Ward. 400 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. A big part of that goes to Xavier Restrepo, 146 yards. I think he had, 3 touchdowns? Yeah, big shout out to Xavier Restrepo. Number 5, I have the Tennessee Volunteers, who are building back their confidence after the loss. I see them getting their swagger back, and the offense, it's starting to get back to where it was. I like where this team is heading right now. Number 6, Texas. The Longhorns didn't play in Week 10. They had a bye week, and they kind of need it after that struggling win versus Vanderbilt. They need to get some things figured out before they have that big, tough stretch of the last week of the season, or last month of the season. Number 7, BYU. The Cougars have defied all odds this season, and they're still standing on top of the Big 12. I really like this team. I think they're going to make it all the way to the Big 12 championship game. They do have Utah, Kansas, Arizona State, and Houston to close out the year. The last 2 games, Arizona State and Houston. We just saw what Houston could do. Don't sleep on these teams. Everyone's a threat at this point in the season. Everyone's got film on you. Anyone can beat anyone right now, it seems like. Number 8, Indiana. What a Cinderella story Indiana's had this year. Coach Kurt Signetti has done a tremendous job with this group of athletes. Quarterback Rourke looked good after missing 1 game. This team is actually ranked pretty good in the offensive rankings. They're 13th in yards, 2nd in points, 10th on third down conversions, and they're decently ranked on defense as well. I mean, they're not top 25, top 50, but still, from an Indiana football aspect, that's pretty good. That's a big turnaround. Number 9, I got Notre Dame. After seeing what they did to Midshipman, who was undefeated at the time, 9 is right where they deserve to be. The only thing is, can they get higher than 9? Not being in a conference. They lost to Northern Illinois. Yeah, that's a bad loss, but it's almost negated with the win versus Texas A&M. Now, Texas A&M can't lose again for that win to be recognized. But yeah, I think Irish 9, good spot for them. Number 10, Boise State. The Broncos have surprised everyone this year. We knew they were a talented team. We just didn't know what caliber of talent they had until they showed us. And my goodness, Ashton Genty, what can you say about him that's negative? Nothing. He's just a hard-nosed running player who just he loves racking up yards and scoring touchdowns, and that's exactly what he does. Number 11, Penn State. Sure, they lost to Ohio State. That was a really good game, though. If certain calls go the Nittany Lions way, I think we're telling a different story right now. With turnovers and was it a catch? Which I think it was. It was right in that gray area. Like the commentators were saying, actually. It was a gray area. It was going to be up to the judges or the refs' call. And he said it was an incomplete pass. So, and that goal line stand for, like, you ran the ball same spot. Like, you didn't get it the first and second time. What made you think you were going to get it the third time? And then on fourth down, then you try to. I didn't like the play calling, but whatever. Penn State 11. Number 12, Alabama. The Crimson Tide just won't go away. Just when you see the losses to Vanderbilt, Tennessee, you're like, there's no way Alabama gets back in this, and then Texas A&M loses, and you're like, come right back on in, Alabama. Be part of the conversation. You're not done yet. 13, SMU. The Mustangs have made a very loud statement what they did to Pitt, winning 48-25. 3 games remaining versus Boston College, Virginia, and Cal. Those are manageable games to win. I don't see any problems for the Mustangs right now with those last 3 games. Especially with Clemson lost to Louisville. SMU holds the tiebreaker over the Cardinals when they beat them earlier in October. SMU's looking really good right now. 14, LSU. After coming off the losing to Texas A&M and now Alabama coming this week, the Tigers really needed this bye week that they just had to try to figure out how to beat Bama. Because if they don't, their playoff chances are gone. Same with Alabama. This is a do or die moment for both teams. I'm very excited to watch this week. 15, Texas A&M. Just when everyone was getting on your side, you were going under the radar for a little bit, and then people started noticing you, talking about you, hyping you up, me included. I was like, Texas A&M might just take the whole SEC this year. And then you just drop it. I don't know how Connor Wegman doesn't go into this game at all. I'm going to get into that later in the show, but yeah, Texas A&M 15. 16, Army. It wasn't the most entertaining game against Air Force. I think the score was 20-3. I know that the quarterback, Bryson Daly, was hurt with an undisclosed injury, but it's just a little bit boring game compared to other Army games this year. 17, Ole Miss. I don't have Ole Miss higher than 17 because I just don't trust them. They've been very inconsistent. 1 week, they can't score in the red zone, and then this past week they put 63 up on a very good Arkansas team. We'll see what happens when Georgia comes to town this week. What kind of Ole Miss team we're going to see. 18, I got Washington State. I feel bad for the Cougars because they're having an extremely good year. They're part of the Pac-12. It's not really a conference anymore. It's just them and who is it? There's 2 teams in the Pac-12. So they don't have a conference championship this year. With everyone that was in the Pac-12 last year, they kind of moved to the Big Ten and other places. So you just kind of feel bad for them. Like, what a year to have a good year when you don't have a conference to play for to get that automatic bid if you win your conference. They're going to need a lot of help if they want to get an at-large bid and some other teams to fall. So, yeah, 18 Washington State, 19 Colorado. I have a very good feeling about what Colorado's doing right now in the spot that they're in the Big 12. So this team could be really dangerous going down the stretch. 20 Pitt. Same thing with the Texas A&M. You had everyone looking at you like, oh, watch out for Pitt. It's not just Miami and SMU. Watch out for this Pitt team. And SMU goes in there. It's like, nah, it's just us two. So, yeah, Pitt down to 20. 21, Missouri, still recovering from that blowout loss to Alabama. I still got them in the top 25, though, at 21. 22, Kansas State, another victim of conference imploding on each other, or on itself. The Wildcats were in control of their own destiny, but now we're on the outside looking in. Texas Tech, 23rd. The Red Raiders barely beat Iowa State by 1 point, but it's still a victory. So, yeah, give credit. They're ranked 23rd. 24th, Iowa State. I can't put Iowa State above Red Raiders because that's the team that they just beat. So I have them one spot below at 24. And number 25, let's give credit to Minnesota and head coach PJ Fleck. I love watching Minnesota play just because of PJ Fleck, his enthusiasm, his energy on the sideline, the way that he coaches this team. I remember when he was here doing that in Western Michigan. Row the Boat was everywhere in Kalamazoo. It was a really fun environment when he was here. So, yeah, congrats to Minnesota being number 25, in my opinion. Next up, we're going to talk about teams that are locked into the playoffs, if any, and there aren't any. The only team you can really put in there is Oregon. Even then, like, it's college football. Anything can happen in college football, and no one's immune to it. But if I was going to pick one team, it would be Oregon. Next, we're going to talk about conference champion predictions. Let's get this. We were going to have Tyler here, but I'm going to start with the SEC, and we're going to go with Tennessee. Like I said earlier, I like that they're building their confidence back. They're getting their swagger back. The offense, the defense, they're firing on all cylinders. They're starting to get there. The wheels are in motion again, and I like what they're doing. The ACC, I got SMU with Pitt falling, Clemson falling, Louisville 2 games back on both Miami and SMU. It's going to be these two teams for the ACC title, and I would feel better if SMU won instead of Miami. So I have SMU winning the ACC. Big 12. This is going to be a little bit of a shock to some of you, but I'm going with Colorado. What Coach Deion Sanders is doing, his son at quarterback, Travis Hunter balling out on both sides of the ball. Colorado is really dangerous right now, and I think because Kansas State and Iowa State still have to play each other. They still have to play each other, so that's going to knock one of them out. The other one would have a better record. So if Colorado wins out, they will play BYU for the Big 12 title, and I think Colorado overwhelms BYU with their speed and talent. Next up, Big Ten, not a shocker, Oregon. The team that they beat to get there, though, that's where things get different with me compared to other people. I have Indiana. They got all the way to the Big Ten championship and only losing by 10 points. They're not going to go like it has been for the last 5 years where either Michigan or Ohio State just blows everyone out in the Big Ten championship game. No. Indiana's going to put up a fight. I still think they're going to net large bid in the playoffs just based on this performance that they have in the Big Ten championship game. So that's that. Who impressed me this week? I'm going to go with Ohio State's offensive line. They had 2 players start in different positions that they've never played before, and they still created a lot of running room. They had 176 total yards against a top 25 rushing defense. So big shout out to them, and also their defensive line, who for the second week in a row had a goal line stand to prevent them from scoring. It happened with Penn State, and it happened with who did they play last week? Doesn't matter. But they had 2 in 2 weeks. SMU running back Brashard Smith, after tearing up the Pitt defense, racking up 161 yards, 2 touchdowns with 23 carries, and not to mention also a receiving touchdown. So yeah, those are the 2 that impressed me. Who let me down? I wish Tyler was here, but Sharon Moore and the head coach of the Michigan Wolverines and offensive coordinator Kurt Campbell with their play calling in the red zone. Like, during the game, like, you saw, like, where was that play calling the rest of the year? And then they get down, especially the 4th and goal, that trick play, I don't understand that. You need to get the ball to your best player, and that is Loveland. And they didn't even really attempt it. So, that's a big old, come on, man. Like, what are you doing? You're already playing, and you're down against a really good Oregon team. You need all the touchdowns you can get, and you're going to try that. Now, hindsight, if it works out, everyone's going the other way. We're like, oh my God, like, what a genius. And no, it just didn't. It's the risk and reward kind of thing. The other person that let me down, Mike Elko, not putting in Connor Wegman at all during the loss to the Gamecocks. Now, Marcel Reed, he didn't have a bad game. It was 18 of 28. He had 206 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But it could have gone better for Texas A&M if they would have put Connor in. Give that South Carolina defense something they haven't seen yet. Mix it up. All you're doing is the same thing. You're doing the run pass option. It wasn't working. So put Connor in there, but he didn't. He just stood on the sideline, and for that, you're on the let me down list. All right, quickly, we're gonna get into the matchups that I'm really excited to see. This was gonna be me and Tyler thing, but here we go. Texas and Texas A&M, November 30th, the last game of the year for both teams. Depending on it, they make it to the SEC championship, but this game will be so electric for Texas fans all across the state. Like for Texas A&M fans, Texas fans, everyone. Before A&M joined the SEC, these teams would play every year, and they even had a name for it called the Lone Star Rivalry Game. And the last one that was played was in 2011 when Texas sent Texas A&M a little goodbye gift with a 27-25 victory and said, see ya, enjoy the SEC, we're going to run this now. But I'm pretty sure both teams have had this game circled on their calendar since the schedule came out. This game is going to be so electric. Can't wait. Another one, Georgia versus Tennessee. Now, we don't have to wait as long for the Texas A&M game because this game happens in 2 weeks. The last meeting last year didn't go so well for Tennessee, but remember they had quarterback Joe Milton. Wasn't the best option for quarterback after they had Hendon Hooker in there, but the previous year. And they didn't have top wide receiver Brew McCoy because he fractured his ankle. This year, they do have the weapons. They have Nico quarterback. They got Dante Thornton and running back Dylan Sampson. Also, Brew McCoy. They're going to have these weapons this time. And I'm so excited to see what they do against this Georgia defense. Because Sampson tore it up when they played Alabama. Put up like 139 yards and 2 touchdowns just a couple weeks ago. And you can't go about talking about big games that you're looking forward to without talking about the game. Michigan at Ohio State. Michigan's been in control of the series for the last 3 years with great running game and great tempo play passes. This year, Michigan fans are lucky if they even get the running game going. Connor Wegman lost the starting job at the beginning of the year. We tried Orgy. That didn't work. They tried Tuttle. That didn't work. And now Davis is back in there. And they need to figure this thing out before this matchup. Otherwise, it's going to be a bloodbath. You're going to give Ohio State fans who are very rowdy fans, they've been sitting on this for 3 years. And if you get blown out by them, you are not going to hear the end of it for a whole year. So, yeah. I know where I'm going with it. Once we cover this game, I'm just kind of curious of where Tyler's going to be with everything. All right, so let's get into the picks. Florida versus Texas. Florida's not doing anything this year, which I know that's Tyler's like second, third team. I don't know how many teams he has. I think he said it was Florida, then Michigan. No, it's Michigan and then Florida, and then Boise State. It's somewhere in there. Those orders. But yeah, I'm going to go with Texas. Army versus North Texas. Army, yeah, they're going to have a lot better game than they had last week versus Air Force. Give me Army. Georgia versus Ole Miss. Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart. They got to be A game the whole time. No mistakes, no nothing. Because this Georgia defense will pounce on you, and Carson Beck, if he's not throwing interceptions, can lead this offense down and score big and quick, as we saw with Alabama. So I'm going to take Georgia. Maryland versus Oregon. If this was another Big Ten team that Maryland was playing, I would probably pick Maryland. It's Oregon. Oregon's going to run all over Maryland, so give me Oregon. Alabama versus LSU. This, I don't know if you want to call this a bold prediction or not, but I'm going to go with LSU. Alabama has had a struggle with speedy, high-powered offenses, and that's exactly what LSU has. Now, can LSU's defense stop Alabama? That's the question, and that's what I am waiting to see on, because we know Alabama's got a good defense. They struggle. They make mistakes. They get penalties. They keep their opponents alive on drives when it matters most. So I'm taking LSU. Florida State versus Notre Dame. Florida State has been a huge disappointment this year. I don't see them using this game as a big comeback game. Notre Dame takes care of business at home. Give me the Irish. BYU at Utah. Utah is another one of those disappointing teams. Give me BYU to keep the Big 12 dream alive and run for the title. Utah State versus Washington State. I'm going to take Washington State. They really need to win by a big margin, 21 or more. It's what they need. If they want a shot at getting an at-large bid in the playoffs, they need it. Virginia versus Pitt. I'm going to go ahead and take Pitt as a bounce-back game because they need it more than Virginia. So that's what I'm going with. Colorado versus Texas Tech. I've given you my opinion about Colorado. I think they're a dangerous team. Give me Colorado. Miami versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was a dangerous team at the beginning of the year. Everyone's kind of like figured them out. All right, this is what they're doing. We can work around that. Miami takes it. Iowa versus Kansas, or Iowa State versus Kansas. Give me Iowa State. Nevada versus Boise State. Boise State at home, easy. Michigan versus Indiana. I think this game is going to be a little close first quarter only. Then Indiana's going to take care of business. Mississippi State versus Tennessee. Give me Tennessee. Washington versus Penn State. Is this going to be a game where Washington steps up and which they've proven they can on certain games. They just don't do it every week for some reason. Penn State coming off the loss. Are they going to be depleted? Are they going to come out with a lot of energy? I don't know. They are at home. I'm going to take Penn State, though. It's close. It's close, though. Oklahoma versus Missouri. I'm going to go ahead and take Missouri. Purdue versus Ohio State. Give me Ohio State to round up the picks. And that is going to do it for this episode. If you haven't already, go ahead and like and subscribe. And when you do that, don't forget to hit the notification bell so you get updated whenever we upload a video. Don't miss out on any action that we put out. We put on 2 videos a week right now. Thinking about doing more. Thinking about doing a whole review and then preview kind of like episodes. Just to get like more content out there, and then these episodes aren't so long. But yeah, go ahead and let me know what you think. What would you like to see in the comments? Next up, my NFL video. That will be right above this one. If there isn't one there yet, it's because I'm still editing. It takes a lot of time to edit 2 videos in one night, so I'm sorry about that. I will get it to you as soon as possible. But whenever that is, I will see you then. See you